Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 2022 monthly meeting in hybrid mode. And I'm getting feedback to myself. Why? I can hear myself. Oh, there we go. Okay. Whew. So welcome, everybody. The picture you see on the screen is taken out of the ELO. Doug Search told me not to use it, but I said it's so good I can't not use it. That is that's Comet Pan-STARRS. Is it K2? 2017 K2. Doug told me not to use it, so I didn't use it. So moving along, I got a jam-packed, full agenda tonight, so I'm going to roll. Here's a list of the board members. Everybody that's on the board is in the house tonight because we signed off on the bylaws tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Here's a picture of all our mugs. So you can recognize this on the street, maybe. I shaved, so we don't want that. So, hey, welcome new members, moving right along. Welcome to new members. Any new members in the room tonight? No new members in here, but I'm sure there's some online. And I'll just say, welcome. I call us the greatest club on earth. And I'm pretty sure there's a few people in here that would agree with me. There's probably many people in the club. I mean, I don't know of a club that has more people that are pretty active. I mean, we probably have a couple hundred active people in the things that we do. And that's where I'm going with this is become active in the club. You know, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And, you know, anybody on the board, I think would agree is that, you know, by being on the board, you're interacting with all the business dealings of the club on a month-to-month basis. And it keeps you engaged. I could say the same thing. I was on the board many, many years ago when I was a new member. And here I stand now as a president. And I've been active other places too. And, you know, it truly is you get back what you put in. You know, this club is going to be 50 years old this year. And we're going to talk about a little bit about that later. And we're going to talk a lot more about it next month. But, you know, we can't be 50 years old if we didn't have any members. So we're doing things. We're getting there. So get involved is really my message to the new members tonight. And also welcome, you know, attend some star parties. There's tons of stuff going on in the next couple months. This is a busy time for the MAS. And there's many opportunities to get involved. Like every month, I like to recognize a few people that have come across my eyes and as being huge contributors. And one of them is, you know, last month we had our meeting, painful meeting. And in the end, and I'll get to it in a minute, but all the members that attended last month's meeting, thank you very much. We accomplished the task that we wanted to get done. And then I had the ELO committee on there because I know they're busy. They've been working hard getting the preparations in line for Camping with the Stars later this month. So thank you. You know, along with all the other volunteers. I mean, this organization is run on volunteers. There's nobody that's paid. There's nobody, you know, there's nobody getting a check every month. So it's you members that are making this thing run, and that's what makes us cool. So the last word about this, you'll never hear this out of me again. But just to remember, it was 1980 something is when it was last done. But the change that we were striving to get is approved. Now, yes, there was a ton of confusion last month about whether we had a quorum, whether we didn't. Put it this way, before I went to bed that Thursday night, I knew that it had passed. I knew that we had a quorum. And there it is. Those are the official results that was reported in a weekly email that was sent out through the MailChimp service. I'll get to more of that later. We needed a 2/3 majority to pass. As you can see, that simple math, it passes. So I'm done. There'll be no more talk of Constitution and bylaws from me. Next meeting will be here. We'll see you then. Just a reminder about Slack. It's there. It's a tool. There's quite a few of us that use it, but you know, it's fine. Great. Use it. Sign up if you haven't. MAS is on YouTube. I did a check. We have 160 subscribers. This meeting alone, last month's meeting, even as boring as that was, I can't believe 48 people watched that thing again. You poor people. It must have been cloudy or something. Was it cloudy a lot the last one? So Anton, if you're on, I know you're back from vacation and I know you've had a very, you've had some fun. So if you're on, Anton, you certainly have the floor.
Yes, I am here. And of course, the Lonoscope program is back in full swing. Members can request one of our 16 telescopes, I guess 14 astronomical telescopes, a solar scope, and a pair of binoculars on the website under membership and Lonoscope program. Members can borrow one of these and use it for a month. We just requires that we set up a little meeting in my driveway and we go through the telescope, check it out, and you can take it home and try it. We also have DVDs of all things astronomical, and that list is on the website as well. And just contact me using the form provided, and I'll set you up with a telescope.
Thanks, Anton. Anton does a fabulous job. I don't believe that he was off on adventures in Europe, and I believe that everything went terrific. So thank you, Anton, for your service. And, you know, I mean, I guess I failed to mention that during the new member thing, but hey, that's a great place to start. I mean, that's where I started. I didn't have a telescope. I didn't have a pair of binoculars when I started this club. And, you know, I tried one out. I tried a lot out, and the program is probably about 3 or 4 times bigger now than it was when I joined. So there's lots of options. There's lots of scopes.
I would add that every time you put up our new member list, I recognize names.
See,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, this is a real attraction for new members.
And you know, I mean, that just isn't for new members. I mean, you members that have been here for a long time, if there's something there that that you don't have or you want to try, I mean, you certainly can. That's comes with your membership. That's use it because we want those to wear out, because we want to buy new ones. Seriously, I'm not, that's not a joke. About COVID, wear a mask if you want in buildings, wear a mask at this meeting if you please. But if you're sick or you've been around anybody that's sick, please stay home, because that's, you know, I think that's exactly. That's why you're home. So moving along, events before the next meeting. One of the most important ones and most exciting ones is this occultation of this star. I'm not going to say it, by Titan, one of Saturn's moons. I'm kind of excited about that. I realize it happens early in the morning, and it's actually at a time when, well, it's after Astro Dark, so it's, you know, it's getting close to sunrise, but it's you know, in a telescope, I'm hoping to capture it with my camera, but I already know what's going to happen. So It's gonna be, I won't say it. You know, there, thanks, Trina. She said cloudy. You know, so I certainly want to try that out and check that out, see if we can do it. And then the rest of the things, full moon, you know, full moon's all exciting. I know that, right, Jerry? Last quarter moon, I don't really see anything in there that really excites me too much, but those are the things that are happening basically with the moon, planets, and some bright objects, Pleiades. I think that's about it. Next meeting is back here, August 4th. Star Party's coming up. So Saturday night is the BSIG at Metcalf Field. And if the weather changes, then that becomes undesirable, then it'll be Friday night. Even I looked at the forecast for that and I'm giving it, okay, that's a 50-50 call. Suresh, I'm glad I don't have to make that call because that can go either way. I think the weather both nights is about equal. The only thing is the closer it gets to the day, that will, you know, you're going to have to make that decision. Tomorrow morning, I presume you're going to make that decision.
We decided on Saturday.
It's already Saturday? All right.
We got
Excellent.
so many people signed up already.
Thank you. And then there's Star Parties, public Star Party at ELO next weekend. And then there's the big one, Camping with the Stars, and we'll cover that a little bit later, the end of the month. 2 opportunities at Long Lake Conservancy Center, up there at the LLCC. Always a good time. It's always dark when it's clear and it's cool. And CGO, it's open every day.
Northern Nights registration is open too, so sign up for
That's
that.
coming, Ken. That's coming, Ken. Just wait, Ken. Special interest group, we already talked about that. We already covered that. Starts at 8. It is Saturday night. There's power on the field. Come early, get a good parking spot. Is that what the line is, I believe? on
I
that?
do have to mention one thing. There's some road construction on Hudson Road. So on the form, I posted our detour to get to the field. So if you have any questions, just contact me. This is Suresh.
Thank you, Suresh. Upcoming events, Camping with the Stars, the end of this month. Astronomy camp up there at LLCC. They're looking for volunteers to help out. I haven't heard as to whether or not they have enough. I haven't heard as to whether or not they have people or if that has been totally filled and they're happy. And then, like Ken said, Northern Nights Starfest, the end of next month. Sign up is right there at that website. If you go to the MAS homepage, click on the calendar and go to NNSF on the calendar, it'll take you to that website that I have highlighted right there. And that's where you'll find the link to LLCC and their sign up so that you can register and sign up for rooms and meals. And that's about it. Oh, pay your fees so you can come. The other piece of that is I heard that there are no double rooms left. Is that right? Vaults, is that right? No double rooms left. There's only.
That's what it says on the registration, is that it's full. I don't know if that'll change as people, you know. But right now it says double rooms are full. There's single rooms and multi-occupancy rooms.
All right. Thanks, Ken. So already looks like there's going to be a great turnout up there. And we're more than 6 weeks away yet. So that's very cool. So Camping with the Stars. Merle, you got everything you need? You having a work party? So there's a work party this Saturday. I imagine there's all going to be all kinds of cleaning and buffing and, rearranging, things like that to get ready for that. You got enough volunteers for the Star Party? All right, so new people, even if you're not a key holder, even if you haven't been trained, showing up for Camping with the Stars, it's a great time. even though, you know, they're going to need traffic cops and pointers going, yeah, over there at the classroom, there's a presentation going on. Things like that. You can do that stuff. That's one way for you to get involved. And I think that's, you know, that's a great place to start. Get you oriented to the observatory and all those buildings out there. It looks like the schedule is full. It looks like there's plenty of speakers. So there's speakers Friday night. And then, you know, once the sun sets, there's the big show starts, as I like to call that. Daytime stuff. The sun will be available. Let's see. Not too many planets yet, though. Saturday, full slate of opportunities. There's drawings for prizes and telescopes and MAS swag, all kinds of things that you can win by being present for the drawings, either the door prize drawing or the raffle prize drawings. There's lots of stuff being given away. Saturday night is the picnic. I talked to Ahmed this afternoon. He told me to put 5 o'clock in there. So 5 o'clock is what it is. It's at the picnic shelter down by the lake. Always a good time. I believe that we are providing hot dogs and hamburgers and all the things that go with that. And chips, stuff like that. You guys buying that stuff too, Merle? All right, so that's anything on the side that you want to go with your hamburger or hot dog, wherever you're getting, you would need to bring that yourself. You know, hey, it looks like it's going to be a great time. And then if you didn't get enough at the picnic, they're having breakfast on Sunday morning if you stay over for that. Again, the observatory will be open and there'll be some fun. So, you know, if you're looking for something to do, to just hang out with a bunch of astronomers for the weekend, go pitch your tent on the field and on the baseball field right there by the observatory and sleep out with the stars. Anything I missed, Merle? All right, I know that. I'll take care of that. So registration, you have to register if you want to be eligible for any of the prizes. If you're going to take part in a picnic, you must be registered. You must pay the fee. You can do a single day. All that is done through the park registration. And if you follow again, just like our calendar for that should take you to the Camping with the Stars website. And from there, then you would be transferred over to Carver County and they handle all that registration stuff. They take all the money and that all happens there. All right, moving on. So we found out that Father Brown, and I don't know how the nomination process worked, but anyway, Father Brown somehow wound up on a list, and as the editor of our Gemini, he received an award. Father Brown, if you come forward, I want to present you this award and the letter that we got from the NCRAL. But anyway, it's the certificate reads, this certificate acknowledges that Eugene M. Brown, we know him affectionately as Father Brown, has been recognized for outstanding achievement in the production of the best NACRL affiliated newsletter, the Gemini. Well, it's not the Gemini, it's Gemini. And that's signed by Carl J. Wenning, the NACRL chairman. So Father Brown, congratulations. We knew this. I'll save this for you. And Father Brown has a few words he'd like to share with you. And, I want to add some things that he doesn't add maybe by the time he's finished. I want to add some things about the 50th anniversary. So take it away.
Thank you very much. This award really belongs to all the MAS members who have submitted articles for Gemini. yes, I edit them and I make sure that they are in acceptable English. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that if you did not send me the articles. And speaking of articles, I would like to fill the entire October and December issues of Gemini with the 50th anniversary, which began in November 1972. So write about the early history or your experiences with MES whenever you join, and let me know when I can expect your article. Thank you very much.
I'll say it again. Congratulations, Father Brown. I mean, I agree that it's the members, but it's you, sir, that put that thing together. You edit that, you know, you make it what it is. And I mean, that's, my wife I used to drive her crazy because she'd come in and she'd go, "Oh, you got the Gemini." I go, "The Gemini is here. The Gemini." I would have something to read during lunch and supper. I mean, that's, I used to get the paper version when I first joined. Now it's a little more difficult to have that computer right there and be reading the Gemini during, lunch, but it does happen sometimes. So yeah, make sure he gets that. So yeah, and Father Brown and I were talking before the meeting, any articles. I mean, you guys that have big tenure in this organization, I think it would be cool. You guys write articles and talk about the old days. I mean, the old days when there were no go-tos, there were no cameras, things like that. I certainly like to hear about that and read about that. So I know the board has formed a little committee about the 50th anniversary where it's kind of like herding cats. There's only 5 people. You'd think it'd be really easy to get 5 people together on a call to have a discussion about the program we'd like to have. We can't get together. So I had a conversation with Ahmed this afternoon because he seems to be the one that's kind of the, the anchor that's holding everything down. The main cat, the tomcat. He's holding us back. I told him, I said, pick 2 dates, send those dates and times out on an email, and we'll get together and we're going to talk about it. Dave Faulkner, I know, has been very busy. He's created a list of all the crazy events by going through the history, through Gemini and the forums and asking people. And so he's got a huge database of things. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to wind up being not a monthly meeting thing, but something that is outside. That's my feeling. That's the direction I'm leaning. So as soon as we know as a committee, because I'm on that committee, we'll tell the board will tell you. Because I don't know, I have some ideas and I'm sure the others on that committee have that same idea. And we're trying to make it big because it's not a little deal. I mean, it's 50 years. So let's see where it goes. What's next? Oh, look at the time. Oh, there's the certificate, everyone. Oh, I forgot I put that in there. Take a good look at it. That thing is wonderful. Congratulations again, Father Brown. And I cannot go beyond. I have to have this slide every month. I think this was he had a special event where he put it in the last Gemini, and I appreciated that. That was great. I love that. So any ideas you have, any article ideas you have, I mean, even if you have an idea and you go, well, is it even worth writing the article? I think if you sent Father Brown an email, I can already tell you what's going to come back. He's just going to tell you, write it, and he'll fix you up. So he'll get it in there. And it's a members only thing. It's I don't know when there was a time when there wasn't just members only articles from members in that newsletter. So I think that's just the best. So a couple PSAs I have. we've kind of changed how we're going to do, and we've been kicking this around for a few months and kind of testing some things out. And what we've learned is that it's kind of chaotic if we don't have a plan. So the plan is that if you have an announcement that you want to make to all the members of the club and our friends, because they're included too, they may not be members, but they're friends. And what we want to do is make sure they're all included. So if you have something that you want announced, send it to Trina. Trina is the secretary. Trina Johnson, send it to secretary@mnastro.org with the details, written as clearly as you can, because, you know, she doesn't want, she has enough to do. She doesn't want to edit too, but she will. The point is that we're not going to go out and we're not going to go hunting to find out what needs to be included in the weekly news, weekly, what do we call it? Weekly happenings. That's what we call it. MAS happenings. We're not going to go hunting for it. So if you don't send it to us by Thursday, it won't go out Tuesday. If she receives nothing on Thursday, or maybe a little bit, she'll lax a little bit and say Friday, but I'm saying Thursday, get it to her before midnight Thursday. That gives her Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to get it together and get it out. So if there's nothing, you'll get no email. But then in that same vein, the mailing list, I won't say that it's chaotic or a mess. It's just that it's so big. There are 671 members tonight. I believe that there is over 1,100, could be 1,200 entries in there. So we want to pare that down. Now, if you're a member, I don't think you need to pare that. You don't need to do that. But if you are a non-member and would want to continue to receive our weekly happenings, MAS happenings email, then send an email that with the subject line, keep me subscribed to Secretary@MNastro. Provide your details, your full name and your current email address. MAS address is fine. Good enough, Trina? So we're going to fix our list. Through the month of July, she wants that. So the next 3 weeks, she wants to have, because I think she's going to wipe the whole thing out and start over. So moving right along, MAS wants to buy a group purchase of sky quality meters again. I know we did it a few years ago. We want to do it again. There's a few of us that want our personal meter. I want a permanent one. A few others want a permanent one. We're going to get some for a couple of sites. And I talked to the Unihedron people today. They'll give us a 15% discount if we get enough people together. So again, if you're interested, contact Trina Johnson. She is our secretary. Is Caitlin or Bob Foucault is not on the call tonight, but there's another gentleman.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me? This is Todd from Starry Skies
Yes,
North.
Todd. Yes, Todd. Go ahead. Starry, what is it? Starry Skies.
Oh, we've been called many things. We like to call ourselves Starry Skies North, but we answer to just about anything.
Yeah. So couple minutes. Give us a little brief rundown about the IDS chapter, IDA chapter.
Yeah, sure thing. Will this work if I try sharing my screen? Is the technology?
Let me see. I have to stop sharing. All right, go ahead, share.
All right, fingers crossed. Come on, technology.
It's working.
Let me know if that comes through.
That's good. Good here in the room.
All right, perfect. Yeah, hey, Mark. Hey, everyone. Mark did ask me to spend just a minute or two kind of introducing Starry Skies North, who we are, what we're up to. So a couple quick slides on that. And then sort of a recap of what you've already heard from Bob Foucault and Caitlin Johnson. I know they've talked to you already about the sky quality meters. So this is a little bit of a refresher on that, why they're important and how they're going to be used, what we're going to do with that data. So jumping over. Okay, so what we are, of course, we're the local chapter of the International Dark Sky Association, the IDA. I do have to qualify what I mean by local. So originally, we were the Minnesota statewide chapter. We've got offices here in Minneapolis, and then also up in Duluth. But we've recently launched what we call the Mid-Continent chapter, under the auspices of a chapter incubator. Because what happened is we looked around here in Minnesota and we discovered that in the upper Midwest and across our neighbors to the north in Canada, we've got 42 million people and 1 million square miles of land across several different states and those provinces, supported by 3 chapters and 8, count them, 8 IDA delegates. And we thought, we got to do better than that. Come on, we're Minnesota. We got some pristine dark skies up in northern Minnesota. You get up into Quetico, obviously, beautiful dark skies. We're going to step in and we're going to try and do something about that. So we've launched this mid-continent chapter incubator. So we have redubbed ourselves as the Minnesota and Mid-Continent chapter of the IDA. Our mission statement, we set the ball pretty low here on this one. We really, I think we could have aimed a little bit higher, because our mission is only to protect the sky, the earth, and all life from light pollution. So maybe we'll try and aim a little bit higher next time. But the point with this being that it's not just us astronomy aficionados that are worried about light pollution. Hey, if you're a life form, if you're a human and you care about human health, human wellness, if you care about environment change, energy independence, you name it, light pollution, it can be part of that solution. So we wanted to incorporate not just protecting the sky, but everything under the sky. All right, a little bit of blatant glomming onto other people's names here. So these are some of our friends and partners, folks that we've worked with, are working with. A couple of years ago, of course, we were doing a lot of work with Voyageurs. Oh, I didn't include Boundary Waters on here. They're going to hate me. To get them designated as International Dark Sky Parks, International Dark Sky Reserves. We worked with the U.S. Forest Service up in Cook County up there, and a number of different folks. You guys make the list. You were gracious enough to invite a couple of us out, Bob Foucault and Bob Grothy and a couple of us to a couple of your ELO events. So that was a lot of fun. So we appreciate that, and we'd love to do more of that. We thought that went great. So we're trying to get out. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Todd, the invitation is always open. You can always join one of our parties and take part in that. Northern Night Star Fest up there, LLCC is coming up. I bet they're looking for a speaker there too. So there's another opportunity for you.
Oh yeah, love it. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. We're doing some stuff up in, as I mentioned, Voyageurs. Well, here we go. That's a great segue. Here's some stuff that's on our calendar coming up this year. We've set the bar pretty high for the Globe at Night initiative, which many of you are probably aware of. So far this year, I think there are about 25 independent measurements in Minnesota that have been submitted to the Globe at Night. We want to supercharge that. We're going to have some opportunities coming up. We'll be at the state fair. So we're hoping to get a lot of attention there and supercharge that. But if all of your folks want to go outside, having a sky quality meter can help you do that. All you need is your eyeballs and the ability to, get onto the interweb one way or another, whether it's through your smart device or get online. If you're not familiar with Globe at Night, we can certainly have a little bit of a primer on how you do that. But that's going on all year. And then we're pretty busy in August, September, a little quiet in November. We're helping out with that Dark Sky Caravan that they run. Jessica Rogers does every year out of the Ellsworth Planetarium up in Duluth. That's a lot of fun. They go up the entire North Shore and end up out at Chickawauk at the end of the Gunflint Trail. So that's a lot of fun. Voyageurs is having their second annual National Star Party. So that's a lot of fun. And we're excited about being out at the state fair. But jumping forward, July 23rd, in case there's a small chance that any of you actually like beer and hanging out with friends, throw on your MAS bling, come over and join us July 23rd over at Forgotten Star Brewing. It's just going to be kind of a hangout, a meet and greet, and have some fun beer and chit chat. Okay, that's enough about us. You guys wanted me here to talk about the Sky Quality Meter project. And some of this, again, is a little bit of a recap. But our goal here is to deploy a network of sky quality meters, and they can be both the permanently installed and the handheld. We're figuring out how we do the data management on that. So the plan is, if you've got one of your existing handhelds, great. If you want to install one of the permanent ones, also great. All data is welcome. And of course, we're going to use that to quantify light pollution across not just Minnesota, but hoping to take that across the mid-continent region as we expand outward. Everything's going to be public. We're not going to hold anything back. We've got the raw data, of course. Raw data is wonderful, but of course, then you have to do it and turn it into something that's useful and actionable. And so that'll be something that we'll be working on. And then all of those results will also be public. Why do we need a sky quality meter? Forgive me, I'm an old engineer. So golden rule of engineering is you can't control what you can't measure. And so if we hope to have any control over light pollution and the growth of light pollution, one of the things we have to start with is we need to understand what the problem is, what the nature of that problem is in terms of wavelengths, and then how it's changing over both space and time. And of course, the corollary to that is you can't influence people if you can't show them the problem. So this data then and the data products then will become talking points that we can take out to the public and policy leaders. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. And of course, many of you may be familiar with the VIIRS satellites, which do an amazing job of looking down at the Earth, and they give us all these nice Earth at night, black marble type of pictures and that sort of thing. Why don't we just use the VIIRS satellites? A couple of really good reasons. One is the calibration uncertainty. The calibration on the VIIRS satellites, you know what source they use? The sun, which is a mere 7 orders of magnitude brighter than what we want to use it for when we're trying to look down at the Earth and look at Minneapolis and at Norwood Young America. So estimates are between 15 and 100% uncertainty in the measurements that are coming up from the VIIRS satellites. Some of you may be aware that they really weren't designed to do light pollution. They were up there to look at the seas. They were up there to look at the foliage. And so they've got rather low sensitivity in the blue end of the spectrum where all the LEDs are. So these days we always say that light pollution is growing at a rate of at least 2% a year. The reason for that qualifier of at least is because we don't actually know, because we can't see it from the VIIRS satellites. As high and low pressure sodium and incandescent bulbs are getting replaced with blue LEDs, things look dimmer to the satellites when in actual fact they're getting brighter. And then finally, of course, what are the VIIRS satellites measuring? They're measuring the light that didn't turn into light pollution. They're measuring the light that actually shot straight through the atmosphere, didn't get dispersed, didn't get refracted around, and made it up to the satellite. So, you know, if you've got a situation with a lot of aerosols in the air, a lot of smoke, fog, it's going to look dimmer than it actually is. And so you need that ground truth for all three of these reasons to be able to make sense of what the VIIRS satellites are showing you. How we're going to use it, as I mentioned, we're going to inform public policy, drive lighting ordinances, certainly support the global citizen science, such as the Globe at Night that I've mentioned. Measure changes over time and place. So having these things distributed across the state, across the region, is going to help us see how light pollution is changing from year to year and also season to season. Certainly promoting astrotourism. We're hoping to work with the Minnesota Department of Tourism, get them really excited about the fact that Minnesota is the only place in the United States east of the Mississippi that still has Bordeaux Class 1 skies, and to leverage that into some astrotourism, and being able to prove that to the Department of Tourism would be a very powerful tool in having that conversation. And then, of course, supporting the International Dark Sky Place and even the Urban Night Sky Place applications. You need sky quality measurements for those. Okay, so that's a little bit of the why. These slides, I think you've seen before. This is straight from the Unihedron website. These are some of the flavors of sky quality meters, both handheld and permanently mounted, that they have available. I think maybe this next slide breaks it down a little bit better. So across the top there, you see the 6 different models. You've got the 2 handhelds, the SQM and the SQM-L, the difference being the field of view 20 degrees versus 5 degrees. The next 4 there, the LE, the LU, the LUDL, and the LR, are all intended to be permanently mounted. The LE is really best if you've got an Ethernet cable that you can run to it, and then power it as well. So if you've got it sticking outside your window, something like that. The LU is USB connected. The LR is RS-232 if RS-232 is near and dear to your heart. And then the LU, which is the USB connected plus DL, which is the data logging, is actually the variant that we ourselves, Starry Skies North, have opted for, because those have got the internal logging. They're powered by 4 AA batteries. Mine outside here went in mid-February. They've been running strong, and I just checked them about 2 weeks ago. They're down about 1/10 of a volt from about 3.5 volts, or excuse me, 1.5 volts down to 1.4 volt. So you're not going to be out there every month in snow drifts changing batteries. They actually did seem to last very well through the winter months. And then of course you're going to want a weatherproof housing. Those are available separately, again through the Unihedron, and so we did opt for those. Here's just a splash page from the Unihedron website itself. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can certainly go out there, read a little bit more about these if you're still on the fence about which ones you want and don't want. And then where we get the idea from is actually from the folks out in Oregon. So our brethren in IDA Oregon started this a couple of years ago. You can see the map of where they've got their sky quality meters, where they're planning to put their future sky quality meters. And then here on kind of in the center, you see this big white cylinder. That's what Unihedron will sell you. That's that weatherproof cylinder. It's got a window on the top. You just mount that to a post. I've got mine on a metal post, pounded out into the backyard. And then every few months you can go out and download the data. So that's about what I wanted to pitch. Let me pause there, see if there's any questions, comments.
Any questions from anyone? I have a little bit left on my presentation too, Todd, so to address some other things. So
Yeah, I got a question. Can we look at this slide 5?
can you go back to slide 5?
We wanted to look at the light pollution, Todd.
This one, the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So you guys are, I don't know. Well, ELO is somewhere about in here.
Yeah. So
Boundary waters.
we need to move along, Todd. So thank you very
Yep,
much
very good.
for your presentation. If you stop sharing, I'd like to take back over again.
It's all yours. And thanks.
Yeah, thank you for spending some time with us tonight.
You betcha.
So I talked to Unihedron this morning and kind of was looking at the 2 models that he thought would best fit for us. So the handheld is $155, and then the data logging one with the enclosure is $264 plus shipping. Now, if we can get enough together, we get a 15% discount. So check into that. Think about that. You can decide. Yep, there's some flyers in the back. So, any questions, contact me, Trina. Conrad's been involved too, so get a hold of one of us. It's broke. I broke it. Okay, here we go. Vault's microphone right there. Hide that again.
Is that working? Hide floating meter. There we go. All right. So the new website has been up and running for a couple months now. Feedback, people pleased with it, working well. No failures. Excellent. I've heard, we're continuing tweaking things and making things better all the time. So I just want a couple slides here, just a quick tips and tricks. You can take the public events, or actually the entire MAS events calendar, and synchronize that to your mobile device or your laptop with just a couple clicks. It's really, really, really simple. So anywhere on the website, either on your mobile device or on your computer, you go anywhere of the events calendar listings, and there are multiple pages that have those listed. You go into view calendar, you click that, you view the entire calendar. Then on the bottom of that page, there's a button called subscribe to calendar. And then when you click on that button, you get a bunch of options here. And depending on what you want to click, what you want to subscribe it into, you have to make a decision, but really there's only two options that really matter. So Google Calendar, if you use any Google Suite, Google Docs kind of calendar for your Android type thing, or iCalendar. Also, there's some options for Outlook Live, and export some older static type ICS calendar files. But if you click let's go through iCalendar. So if you go to the next slide.
You have the slide thing.
All right. So we go to the next slide. This is the iCalendar example. So if I click that iCalendar button, then basically this was on a computer. So that was running Outlook as a main client. So this was my computer at work. So you go open Outlook, and then Outlook asks, do you want to add this internet calendar to Outlook? You just hit yes. And then the next thing, all of a sudden, the MAS calendar is live synced to your Office Outlook calendar. Done. And if there's any change to the MAS schedule that's posted to the website, it automatically gets synced to your local calendar. So that's an automatic thing. So it's really nice. So here, for example, I click this thing and I get all the information about Saturday's BSIG event. So it's live and it's real time. Same thing, Google Calendar, exactly the same process. Add to Google Calendar, boom, it puts it right there into your Google Calendar. It merges it with all of your other calendar if you happen to use Google as your tool. Same thing, you click the BSIG event on the calendar, you get all the information that's on the website, and it links back to the website. So really, really simple. 3 little simple tips and trick slides for the new website. Hopefully everyone finds it useful. Thanks.
Thank you, Baltz. Baltz, I need the clicker back. Thank you. All right, so next meeting in August, we're inviting all astrophotographers to bring their data. What's up with the presentation in here? There you go, Matt. Now you have something to fix. So, oh no, we're going to carry on. There's no, here we go again. Next month, we're going to ask all astrophotographers to have 1-2 images that they would like to share with the club. We're going to dedicate the second hour of next month's meeting to astrophotography. And send your images to Ahmed or me, president at mnastro.org, and we'll create a slideshow, and it'll be interactive with all of you. We broke it. The video is broken in the room, but we'll fix it. We'll get it working. Oh. All right, so that's all I have. And I'm turning it over to Bob right now. We'll get that up. We'll let Bob do his thing. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn it over to Bob. And Bob, you
Alright.
can take over anytime.
Do you want me to start the presentation? Are things?
Yeah, go
working?
ahead. We're going to work on it here.
Okay. Can you, of course, my internet connection can sometimes be slow. I assume you can hear me okay right now?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay.
We can hear you fine in the room. And
I'll tell you what, I'll put the
you go ahead and
first
put it up.
slide. I'll put the first slide up so you can see whether it's
There you go.
working or not here.
There you go.
All right. Oh, hold on.
Oh, it's my
Hold on a
eye.
second. Hold on a second.
Eye. Okay, it works. Bob, we're live again in the room, so we're good to
All
go
right.
whenever you
Great.
are.
All right, very good. Good to be here. I wish I could be down there, actually. That would be more fun, but nice to participate through the Zoom meeting. Tonight, I've got a couple of different things about naked eye astronomy. You know, I'm a very dedicated telescope user, as you guys know, from being at Northwoods and all, Northern Nights, pardon me. But I also just like using my naked eye, like this big naked eye here. So I'm going to talk about two little naked eye projects and then two telescopic things very briefly that would make great little observing projects right now. I'd like to think of all of us beginning kind of this way, you know, where we were looking out the window at the stars. When I picked this image, I realized this person is located somewhere other than Earth because they're looking at the Andromeda Galaxy, but the point is the same. We all started out with just these two eyeballs, and to me, they're a wonderful instrument for doing almost research-like projects of the night sky and daytime sky. So I'm going to look at two of those ways in which we can use just naked eye observations, no equipment required. And the first is, it started this spring with me, had to do with wanting to measure the size of naked eye sunspots. As you guys know, we're already well into cycle number 25. It looks like a dynamite solar cycle. Numbers are up. We've had regular sunspot groups appearing pretty much daily since the springtime. Matter of fact, today there were like 5 or 6 different groups out there. Observation of sunspots goes way, way back before the telescope. So really, this is the kind of one of the ultimate naked eye type observations you can make. The Chinese, back in the year 1100, created this record. And here's just a couple of pages of it that show their representation, what we believe is the representation of naked eye sunspots. And what I love about it is how they describe the spots. Now, to me, they just look like tiny little dots when I look at them through my filter. But maybe they were bigger back then. They called them plums and goose eggs, was their description of some of those sunspots. Again, these are from around 1100. We're going to fast forward now to the year 1613. Galileo was one of the early observers of sunspots in the sun. He was not the first, but he was among the first observers. These are some of his sketches, which I added together into an animation. You can see he was quite good at sketching sunspots back in June, July of 1613. And you can see the sun's rotation very well. Some of those groups are certainly large enough to be visible with the naked eye. Galileo used the projection method for his solar observations. He did not look through fogged glass or whatever, soot-covered glass. And it's an urban myth that he lost his vision later in life because of staring at the sun. It was actually due to cataracts and glaucoma, kind of familiar things today, ways that people lose their, not through cataracts, but certainly glaucoma today. Moving closer to the previous century, the largest, and it still stands as the largest modern sunspot group and that we've seen. This occurred back in April of 1947. And you can see you got the Earth here and Jupiter for comparison. And this group is about 2 Jupiters wide. So that is truly something enormous. We've had some large sunspot groups in the past several cycles, but nothing quite approaching this yet. But who knows? Who knows what's to come? Maybe we'll get something like this in the current cycle as it matures in late 2024 and early 2025. My interest I've always looked at naked eye sunspots with filters, of course, but my interest in determining their size was inspired by these 2 regions here. You can see the animation. This was done back in April of this year. We had several prominent naked eye sunspot groups that marched across the sun as it rotated, and they were visible day after day after day. And I would go to space weather and find out how big they were. Well, this one's 4 Earth's diameters. This one's 3. And I thought, well, I'd like to learn to do this myself. There must be a way. And of course, there's actually 2 really easy ways to do this. This is a photograph through my little refractor taken on April 21st. And here are the regions, the active regions names. That's 2994 and 2993. This is my daughter, and she is demonstrating the method that I use to make my naked eye sunspot observations. Some people use the eclipse glasses, which are fine, and I've tried those, but I've discovered that the number 14 Welder's glass gives a brighter and sharper image than at least the eclipse glasses that I own. I've got the black polymer types, still better. And so I just hold it up. I cut my hands around the filter like so I block out any extraneous light. I relax my eyes, and in using that, doing it that way, I've been able to see some pretty small sunspots, as it turns out. This is a welder's glass view. The welder's glass I use provides a green image, and these are the 2 main sunspots. I don't even know if you could see those. Those are the 2 main spots in this couple different groups that were visible back on April the 23rd this year. Little tiny dots. Of course, the fact that you can see those dots is telling you that they are enormous. You're seeing them without any magnification, any optical aid. So I took to measuring my own images, and then I thought, well, how can we generalize this? Where can we get a standard source of images that anybody can use to determine how big a particular spot or a sunspot group is? And you guys are all familiar, I'm sure, with the Solar Dynamics Observatory site that NASA has up, where it has all those amazing, bizarre ultraviolet images of the sun that show flares and coronal holes. But they also provide visual light photos, including this one here. And then my favorite for measuring sunspot sizes is the HMI Intensitygram, the flattened view. You just go to the site, as I've outlined here in red, and then scroll down to look at all the different color images. And at the very bottom, you're going to find the Intensitygram, the visual view, which is nicely flattened. And when you download it, it looks like this. It's very crisp, very distinct edges, beautiful visual view of sunspot groups. You'll recognize those 2 groups from my earlier photographs. Then you open that thing up in some imaging program. You might use Paint. I got a cheap Photoshop Elements program that I use. You open it up in Elements, and once it's open, you select the rulers. You select rulers from the menu, and what rulers will do is put a ruler on both axes of your image. And mine defaults to a ruler that measures in pixels, and yours probably will too. If not, you can just search through the options. So I've got a pixel ruler here, so you can see where we're headed right now in terms of measurements. Then you take the brush tool, and I'm just going to go over this quickly. You can play with this later, or you can use the second method I'm going to show you, which is even simpler than this. But since so many of us already have imaging programs, I thought this might be helpful. You take that brush, you put it up here in the corner, and you drag that sucker to create a new 0 point right down at one end of your sunspot group. You'll see here the numbers start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you drag the corner, and that corner becomes the 0 point. you line it up with one end of the sunspot, and then you measure from 0 to however many pixels wide that sunspot group is, right? So you've got, in this particular case, we're looking at that naked eye group that's 38 pixels wide. And from then, it's really just a super simple division problem in arithmetic. One small wrinkle, the sun's apparent size changes during the year, right? For obvious reasons, because the Earth is revolving around it. We're closer in the month of January, we're farther away in July, kind of in the middle in the spring and fall. So the sun's apparent size varies from 966 pixels using the SDO image to 935 pixels at aphelion. So those are the extremes. And here's how we calculate size. The Earth is 1/109th the diameter of the sun. So one Earth diameter is equal to, and I measured the full diameter of the sun in pixels with that ruler in Photoshop. Earth diameter is 948 divided by 109. And that was the size of the sun back in April. And I got 8.7 pixels is one Earth diameter. So if the sunspot group, which you see over here, is 38 pixels wide, you just do the division and you get bingo 4.3 Earth diameters, or approximately 34,000 miles, which I think is really cool. It's so easy to figure out. And then it adds a little extra excitement to what you're viewing. And if you happen to be doing some public astronomy, you can tell that person, said, you know what, that sunspot group you're looking at is 3.5 times the size of the Earth. In playing around with this, I've discovered that kind of my naked eye limit on sunspot groups is around 3.5 Earth diameters. So if I can just see that sunspot through my welder's glass, I'm looking at something like 3 times the diameter of the Earth. By the way, if you guys want to jump in at any point with a question, feel free to do so, or put it up in chat or something, and maybe somebody could read me the question in chat. Of course, this method, very nice, super simple, really works more towards the center of the sun, right? Where there's not so much distortion caused by foreshortening. This is not going to work very well unless you use trigonometry. It makes it more complicated to determine sunspot diameter when the sunspots are near the limb of the sun. So you have sort of a useful zone. And I was very conservative here. I've got it just plus 20, minus 20 on either side of the equator, and then 20 on either side for longitude. But I think you could probably go all the way to 30 or so. And a lot of the groups don't appear to the naked eye anyway until they sort of move into this useful zone. So it all works out in the end. What's the second method I had? Well, that was like really simple. Let's see if I can show you here. You can print out a picture of the sun. You can measure it in millimeters and then measure the sunspot group in millimeters and do the division. Use the 1/109 for the size of the Earth. Bingo, you've got your size of a naked eye sunspot group. It's a very simple thing, I realized. It gave me a little thrill. So I wanted to share it with you. And if you want to do this yourself, if you are into naked eye sunspot viewing or any kind of solar viewing, you can start right now, because this is what the sun looks like today. I was out again with the refractor. I use remember the old University Optics 80 millimeter? I got one of those and I stick a camera on the end of it and a Barlow. And this spot group here, number 3053, is getting close to that naked eye point. I suspected seeing it today through the filter, but I think 2 days from now, maybe tomorrow even, I should be able to make out that spot. You can even, if you wanted, plot a graph. You can create your own view of the sunspot cycle by plotting how many days in which naked eye sunspots are visible. And they will follow the curve of the sunspot cycle, since obviously you're going to be seeing more large sunspots as we approach maximum, and then fewer as we drop back down towards minimum. So that's one little project. This involves no math whatsoever, no division problems. Perhaps some of you have seen these clouds, and I wanted to bring this up, especially because this is right now the peak season for viewing noctilucent clouds. And here in Duluth, we're a little further north in the Twin Cities area, but not so much. And people in the Twin Cities have definitely made sightings of these clouds. In fact, they are becoming more common in recent years, with sightings. The farthest south I've heard of is Los Angeles, and certainly in Denver. But more commonly, they're at northern latitudes, kind of our latitudes up here, 45, 50 degrees north. And they're visible about an hour and a half, hour 15, hour and a half after sunset, okay? After all the other clouds in the lower part of the atmosphere, the troposphere, they've gone dark because the sun's no longer shining on them. But these clouds are really high. You're looking at clouds here that are 50 miles high in the atmosphere. They're virtually at the edge of space. This is a wide view of the display you just saw a moment ago to give you an idea of how low these guys are. Our altitude down here, here's the star Capella. I hope you can see that at the end of my pointer. This is 6 degrees. Capella is about 6 degrees high. So if you want to seek these clouds, you want a clear night. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be clear or pretty clear within 5 degrees or so of the northern horizon. And when I drove out to see these, I've got a spot where I can get a good view of the low northern sky. When I drove out to see these, I was in the car down the road looking, oh my God, there they are, those feathery blue clouds again. Spectacular. This is a diagram with stellarium. It's some pretty bad artwork here, but you can see these are the noctilucent clouds. Capella is sort of this key guide star because this time of year, Capella is approaching its nadir beneath the pole star. And it's a great guide. When you can start to see Capella clearly, that's a good time to look for noctilucent clouds. And it's often sort of the limiting northern or the uppermost part of the clouds for our region. So that's Capella. Noctilucent clouds are definitely blue. They are not the normal color. They have a really special blue phosphorescent kind of glow to them that sets them apart. Otherwise, they can look kind of like cirrus, but there are often ripples in them caused by gravity waves. And I encourage you, if you do go out for a noctilucent cloud search, to bring a pair of binoculars. You can photograph these guys, but you're going to want to see a little more detail with binoculars. As I said, they're located really high up there, all right, between, they're way up in the mesosphere. So you got the troposphere down here, which goes up to roughly, 8 miles, topped by the stratosphere. In the stratosphere is the ozone layer, and then above the ozone layer in the mesosphere at around 50 miles is where the noctilucent clouds form. The temperature up there is like even colder than Duluth. It's 130 degrees below zero in the mesosphere. The reason why they appear blue to our eye, what sets them apart color-wise, is the fact that the sun is shining on these guys, right? And the light is reflecting downward towards your eye. But on its way down, it passes through the ozone layer. And the ozone layer steals away the yellow, the orange, and the red. And it filters that out, and it allows only the blues, the cooler colors to pass through. So you're sort of indirectly seeing the ozone layer when you observe that blue color noctilucent clouds. And the reason we see them so late is because their altitude is so high. When the other clouds are in shadow, as you can see down here, our observer looks up at noctilucent clouds, which are high enough to still be illuminated by the sun. So you will see Perseus, Auriga, you'll see the stars come out at the same time you'll see noctilucent cloud. It makes for great, great photos. They tend to cluster in the polar regions, and they're more common in the summertime because almost counterintuitively, the mesosphere is colder during the summer months than it is during the winter months. And that cold temperature allows material at that altitude to condense, or for water vapor to condense on material at that altitude, those bitter cold temps. And generally it is in the polar regions, but in recent years, that the clouds have been spreading more southward. And there's a reason for that. You don't know when you're going to see them. You may see a spectacular display one night, go out the next night, zero, next night, zero. Or you might see them 2 nights in a row. This happened 2 years ago. You recognize the comet, right? That's Comet Neowise. I was out taking some pictures. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. We don't just have a comet here. We've got noctilucent clouds. This photo was sent to me by a fellow in Minneapolis who photographed St. Mary's Basilica. You can see that in the background with noctilucent clouds. I mean, even like right in the city, you can see these. You don't need dark skies because it's really a twilight phenomenon. And I'm talking mostly about evenings, but you can also go out at dawn, okay, an hour and a half to 2 hours before sunrise, or an hour and a half to 2 hours after sunset. So how do they form? Well, like any cloud, they need condensation nuclei. They need something to stick on, right, to coalesce on. And at that altitude, you might wonder exactly what is sticking on, you know, what is the material that water molecules attaches itself to? And this is a second fascinating aspect of the clouds. It is meteor dust. That's at least one ingredient. And you can see a beautiful fireball here. And when that meteor enters the atmosphere at such high speed, it vaporizes. It leaves kind of a smoke or a bit of soot, kind of meteoric soot high in the atmosphere. And the soot of this extraterrestrial material serves as condensation nuclei for the water vapor that gets lofted up from below, either by gravity waves or air currents. It does find its way up into the mesosphere. This is just to show you, I know this looks like a mess here, but just to show you 2 main qualities of that part of the atmosphere and why the clouds form there during the summer. Over here, we have the temperature of the mesosphere, and it reaches its coldest temperature, again, paradoxically, in summertime. And that cold does help condensation. Also, the greatest amount of water vapor is available during the summertime. It seems like human beings kind of mess up everything. We get involved in everything. Todd talked about light pollution. We also have chemical pollution, some of which drifts up into the atmosphere, or we put it there. Methane from human activities, not just human activities, but methane from these activities can work its way up into the mesosphere, and then through a chemical process, it can form water, and that allows for more material and therefore more clouds. So it might be part of the reason why we're seeing more noctilucent cloud displays. It's because there's more methane in the atmosphere due to industrial activities, farming, and so forth. Another really interesting potential source of material is the water vapor from rocket launches. And we all know how SpaceX is launching a rocket every couple of weeks, if not more often, the atmosphere. And as that fuel burns, it leaves water vapor behind. And that water vapor definitely can make for more noctilucent clouds. So rocket launches, especially SpaceX rocket launches for the Starlink satellites, could be behind an increase in these clouds. So just to summarize about this naked eye project, look low in the northern sky, you know, go out in the daytime, like you would for the aurora or something, to find a spot where you can get down there. And then at night, around 10 o'clock or so, drive there, give it a little time, bring a pair of binoculars and your camera, and you might just be rewarded with a view of these truly beautiful kind of spacey clouds. I usually start around 10:15 here in Duluth, and I've discovered that they're often best between 10:30 and 11:15 now through early August. So yeah, you might see them, and it's if you can get north or south of the Twin Cities to where you're kind of out in farmers' fields, where you got those good horizons, perfect. So I'm going to move on. Just got 2 quick things I wanted to talk about. I know you guys have observed Comet K2 Pan-STARRS C 2017 K2. Like we're speaking code anymore when we talk about a comet's name. This is a photograph taken by a guy in Arizona of the comet on July 2nd. And he was using a 10-inch astrograph. And I mean, it doesn't look exactly like that, but through my 15-inch from a dark sky site, it is a beautiful comet. The coma is moderately condensed. You know, it doesn't have that bright intensity of some comets, but the tail just looks so ghostly and nice. It points almost due north, and it's nice and straight, and it's quite easy to see on a dark night without the moon. So very, very beautiful tail if you can find dark skies. And you've got like a, say, an 8-inch telescope at least. This comet is fascinating because, well, it was discovered back in 2017. How many, well, I can't ask, but maybe you can tell me later. I've been looking at this comet for several years. It's just been taking its time, slowly working its way in from beyond Saturn, where it was discovered, and into the inner solar system, where it is right now. This thing comes out from, I mean, this thing comes from a place 50,000 AUs away, out in the Oort cloud. And it's been traveling literally for millions of years to get here. So I think it's worth one nice view some night in your telescope, and maybe suffering a few mosquito bites to see it. But it's really cool that it's been on such a long journey, and we get a chance to finally see it here on right in the middle of summer. Here's a map using Megastar showing the comet's position every 3 nights. And you can see it's cutting its way, cutting a nice path right through the constellation Ophiuchus right now. And it could not be better placed in the sky, because as soon as it gets dark, there it is. There's Ophiuchus right in front of you. We have the moon coming into the scene now, which will hurt a little bit the comet's appulse, or close, like almost a conjunction that it'll have with M10. So it's going to pass right next to M10. These are UT times, but for us, it'll be on 2 nights. The night of July 14th, it passes 30 seconds, pretty much to the 30 minutes to the north. And on July 15th, it'll pass about the same distance, a half a degree to the west. So it might make, I mean, even with the moon, it'll be after full moon, but even with the moon just starting to come up, it should be dark enough for a nice view. And certainly you'll be able to take a great picture of this comet passing right by the globular. Here's a simulation of it. For those who will plan to have cloudy sky, it'll be overcast both nights, right? So I made a simulation, half a degree, 14th and 15th. There's K2 with its northward pointing tail, and there's M10. By the way, on the night of the 14th, when it does make that close passage, it will also pass closest to the Earth at 1.8 AUs, which I believe is like 270 million kilometers. So not a really close pass to us. This comet is currently about 8.5, 8.8, and it will brighten another magnitude or so before it gets lost in the twilight glow in late September. So we've got a good view of 2 more months, so be sure to check it out. One final thing I wanted to share with you. Some of you may not be aware of this, but Saturn's moon Titan is going to occult a fairly bright star in the constellation of Capricornus. The star has an HD number on it. I'll show it to you in just a moment. But what's interesting about the occultation, which will take place this Saturday morning, okay, Saturday morning with Saturn on the meridian right around 4:15 in the morning. Perfect time to get up, right? But Titan will gradually move over and cover this star. And this is the zone of viewing. So this is a widely observable event. You know, who's ever listening to this probably is going to see it. There's the northern limit up in Canada by Lake Winnipeg. Here's the center line, and you've got your southern limit of visibility in South America. If you happen to be, if someone is near the center line, The most fascinating thing will happen during the occultation. When the star is centered behind the moon, its light will be refracted by Titan's atmosphere to create a brief forward flash. So even though the star will be invisible, the air around Titan will focus it into a bit of light, a flash of light. They call it the central flash. We won't see it in Minnesota, but perhaps you know someone down in Havana, and they'll be able to see it. For the Twin Cities area, I've got some specs here, 417 to 420 on July the 9th. It's going to take 3 minutes. It'll be behind Titan for 3 minutes. The fascinating thing to watch for us is the occultation itself. You've seen lunar occultations and you know how they go. The moon gradually moves over the star. And because the moon has no atmosphere, the star just blinks out. I mean, it's just gone in a flash. But Titan has a very thick atmosphere. And there's haze, there's organic hazes that extend at least 200 miles above the surface. So as it covers the star should take several seconds to blink out. So it'll be a different kind of occultation and kind of a rare thing to happen. The last one was a 5th magnitude star back in 1989 in Sagittarius. And the next one won't happen until like 2048 over Antarctica. So if the weather is partly cloudy, clear, this would be a great one to catch. You can do video. Those who have video capabilities, this is a really great event to use, to do, because the star, as it passes through the different atmospheric layers of Titan, will be refracted differentially. So you might see some brightenings on the way down, brightenings and fadings of the star, and you can record that with video. These are, again, the particulars. You can get full details at this link. Okay, I'm gonna screenshot it or something. Starts at 9:17 universal time, so we're talking 417.4, done at 420.4 for Minneapolis. There's a table there with all kinds of cities, just hundreds of them, so you'll find your place. And I want to wrap up with this final image because it's one of my favorite things I've ever seen come back from Titan, is when the Huygens craft descended to the surface and it touched down on January 14th, 2005. And you can see the landscape there in the foreground. You've got those boulders, they're rounded boulders made of water ice, and then that orange colored surface. So who knows, maybe it'll even feel like you're kind of descending to Titan as you watch that star covered by the moon come January the 9th, this Saturday. And with that, I'm done. I appreciate and open to questions if you guys have any questions. Oh,
Any questions? Any questions here in the room?
there we go. Hey, at least I can see I did the presentation with the mute off. That's good.
I don't know if there's any questions online, but go ahead and open your mic and ask away.
Yeah, or yeah, if you have any comments or anything like that, or if anybody plans to check out that Titan occultation.
Very quiet in the room here.
It's quiet. I'm just, yes.
Oh, Jones has a question. Okay,
Fire
wait. Oh,
Hi, Bob. This is Jerry Jones with a dumb question.
Oh,
Would
hi,
you-
Jerry.
Would you be kind enough to show the slide that has the solar measurement flattened? I did not get that particular web link and would like to look at that again.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me go back to it.
Thank you.
Jerry, you do know this is recorded, don't you?
Yeah, but who wants to go through all that trouble, right?
Jerry, I'll have it up
All
by.
right. There we go. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Didn't want to, I thought I had it there, but I'll bring it back in. You want the SDO link. I take it, Jerry. I think that's what you're interested in. This slide, perhaps. Is this the one?
Said no.
No,
Yeah, yes, that's the one.
that's the one. Okay. Yeah,
I don't think Jerry knows what he wants.
we're all trying to figure that out for ourselves. But yeah, you can just go here. I mean, what's so great about this site is that every day there's an image. It's all like standardized. And so anybody can go here and, you know, for that matter, like I mentioned before, you just print it out if you don't want to mess with the measurement in a imaging program. You just do your
Bob?
division that way. So it's just, yeah, go ahead.
They update that more than once a day, or is this a one-shot deal?
More than once a day.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see, I mean, yeah, you'll see a match there when you're out. And yeah, and things don't change that radically in a few hours. You know, if you observed it in the morning and the image happens to be from the early afternoon, no worries. We're only talking ballpark, you know, you notice that I had the approximate number when I had the Earth's diameter or the size of the sunspot. So it's just a way to get a feel, a simple way to get a feel for how big these things really are and how to do it yourself. You know, that's what it's about.
Any
All right.
questions online?
Yeah, hi, Bob. Greg here. Nice presentation.
Hey, thanks, Greg.
Couple of, thanks. Thanks. It's wonderful as always. Just a couple questions. What's the faintest deep sky object you've seen naked eye? And I'm sure you probably track that. And then also, what's the furthest deep sky object you've seen? Naked eye.
You mean naked eye? Naked eye, right?
Right. Sticking to the subject.
Sticking to the subject. Yeah, the farthest thing I've seen is, you could probably guess, would be, well, maybe not, but the Andromeda Galaxy. I've not seen M81 or M82, but I've seen Andromeda. And I've also seen the Triangulum Galaxy. So I guess those would be the farthest things that I've ever seen. As far as the faintest thing I've ever seen naked eye, there are, well, certainly M33 again, the Triangulum Galaxy is pretty dim, but there are a couple of, you know, NGC and Messier objects in the winter Milky Way. Like for instance, the cluster, I think M38 or M36 in Auriga. It's pretty tough to see some of those. You just have to relax your eyes and kind of do a mixture of averted vision and direct vision, and then trust your observation, you know, just kind of keep at it. So there are several that are quite faint. Some of the surprising ones you might think are faint that are actually kind of bright and easy to see are like M22, for instance, no problem at all. You can see M17, if I recall, as well. So there's more than you'd imagine. I believe, don't know the exact number, but I think I've seen about 35 different star clusters, galaxies, etc., with the naked eye. There's a lot out there. And the reason why it's easier now than it was centuries ago is because we have precise maps that can guide you to those spots and help you. So thanks for asking, Greg.
Oh, thanks, Bob. Interesting.
How about you? What about your faintest? Or farthest?
Whoops. Sorry, had to unmute again. I think it's
Oh.
M33. I think I'd have to say that that's probably the toughest one I've seen. I'm going to look for some of the star clusters you mentioned, though. I don't think I've tried for some of those winter ones like that. That's really interesting. Thanks for mentioning all that.
Yeah, there's Greg, I did a post for Sky and Telescope about naked eye deep sky objects. I have one for summer and I did one for winter. If you want, you can look those up, and there are lists in there along with my observations, and they might be helpful to you. You can just look up naked eye deep sky, you know, just Google that, naked eye deep sky, Bob King, Sky and Telescope, something. But that might be a good guide.
Great. Thank you. I will.
Thanks. Anything
Excellent.
else?
Thank you, Bob. I don't see any other questions online unless somebody has something. I don't see anybody in the room here.
Well,
All right.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks
Hang
for
on, let me
having
look
me.
at the chat. I never thought of that. I don't think
Oh.
anybody else did.
Yeah.
Comment about can't wait for Dragonfly mission to Titan. And a bunch
Yeah.
of, how's that? Thank you, thank you.
Oh, I see. I can see the chat here myself. Thanks. Thanks, guys. And thanks for the kind words too. It's always fun to get together, and thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate that.
So, I didn't properly introduce Bob, but Bob is Astro Bob. He's a writer for Sky and Telescope. He's a MAS member. Just to kind of tie all that together. And we always entertain our own members when they're willing to entertain us. So thank you, Bob. And
Oh, I see. Hold on a second, Mark.
Pocket NSF.
I see Michael Copper is seeing M13. That's a great one to crack your eye on. That's a really good one. It's not that from a dark sky. It's a good one to start with. After M13, try M92. That's also visible with the naked eye, but it's a lot more challenging. Greg, you'll love that one. You'll walk home practically blind after you try looking at some of these things, but M13 is a really good one. Yeah,
So
that's
cool.
good.
Well, that's all we have tonight. Thank you, Bob.
Thank
And,
you, Mark. We'll see you guys at the Northern Nights, okay?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
So everyone, that wraps up our meeting for the night. And we'll see you next month, August the 4th, right here. Again, live on Zoom and in person. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.